I've really been on a book buying spree. I don't know what's gotten into me. As I'm sitting here, I'm seeing another stack of books over there that I bought as well, so let me just go grab that. This is just low-key ridiculous. So the stack gets higher. Hi everybody and welcome back to my booktube channel, Books with Leo. If you're new here, my name's Leora and I make weekly videos most of the time about books and yeah, mostly books, but I used to also do videos on art and thrifting. I've been getting a lot of comments recently about people telling me they want to see journal videos and art videos, so if you guys are interested, definitely let me know because I'd love to. But today, it's still about books because today I'm doing a book haul. I've got a big stack of books right here next to me and I just tried to lift it up for the thumbnail and it was kind of disastrous. But you know, I guess that's just booktuber life. Today I'm going to talk about all of the books I bought recently. I didn't buy all of these books and some of them I bought secondhand, so I thought maybe that's good to know as well. Some of them were gifted to me by friends. I am planning on making a video on all of the books that I thrifted, and that video will also be full of tips and tricks on how to thrift books. So I won't be going into as much detail with the thrifted books as I will be with the other ones, if I know what they're about anyway, because like with a lot of these books I've got no clue. Without any further ado, let's get into the book haul. Okay, so the first book I've got in this haul is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I recently saw Drinking by My Shelf talking about this book, and that's when I put it on my Goodreads TBR because I was really interested in it. She made it sound very interesting, and I also love the cover. I've also heard some of my friends talk about it. This is basically about two young adults, Connell and Marianne, and they grow up in the same small town. And they're really different. So Connell is really popular and Marianne is not so much. She's a bit of a loner. And they start talking and a sort of romance begins and they try to stay away from each other, but they really can't. And that's all I know really. That's like almost literally what the blurb says. So that's how well informed I am. I was gifted this book by my friend Sophie. Thank you so much, love you. And she really enjoyed this book and it made her think of me because she knows I read a lot of young adults. And this is technically an adult novel, but the protagonists are young adults, so that's what she thought of me, I guess. And also she thought it was really interesting that this was about people in university, and especially when it's about young people, we often read about them in high school and not in university. That's also why she was like, you should read this because it was really fun. She told me there was a lot of sex in this book, but there were other people that told me that was not so much the case, so I don't know what to expect. And yeah, I have heard that one of Sally Rooney's books is full of really non-likeable characters and one of her other books is full of amazing characters. So I'm not sure which one of the two this is, but I'm really interested in diving into this book. The next book I've got on my lovely stack of books is Who Fears Death by Nnedi Okorafor, and this book intrigued me so much from the moment I stumbled upon it on Scribd, I think it was, or Storytel, I don't know, one of the two. I've been using Storytel a lot for like, I think half a year now, and Scribd, I also really like Scribd because I recently discovered, this is very off topic, but I recently discovered that Scribd has all of Boombox's graphic novels on there, so like Fence is on there, Slam is on there, Goldie Vance is on there, Giant Days is on there, and Giant Days is one of my favourites, so I was so hyped to find that out, so yeah. Love Scribd. If you guys want to get 60 days Scribd for free, definitely check the link down below in my description box. This is not sponsored, but if you do use that link, I get more free Scribd, and I love Scribd, so please. And you can also have free Scribd for 60 days instead of 30, so sorry for this little commercial, but I really want to read all of Boombox, and I want you guys to read those as well, because there are so many great graphic novels. BB Free is also on there. I recently read BB Free, loved it. So yeah, I'll talk about those things in my next wrap-ups, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. But you know, we were talking about this book, Who Fears Death, and basically this is a book about a woman. So her village has been annihilated by an enemy general and she's been raped, and she wanders into the desert hoping to die. So this is very tragic and very traumatic for her. But then when she gets to the desert, she gives birth to a beautiful baby girl. It says here, an angry baby girl with hair and skin the color of sand. And the woman is sure that her baby is magical in a way, special. And so she names her, oh, I'm going to butcher this, I'm so sorry. She names her Onye Sonwu. I'm sorry. And that means who fears death in an ancient language. And Onye is a child of rape, and she, it says here, she's a half-breed rejected by her community, but once she's growing, she's starting to display this very remarkable magic that no one has ever seen before. As she grows older and older, she discovers that there is someone out there, someone powerful, trying to kill her. So there's something going on there. It says here, desperate to elude her would-be murderer and to understand her own nature, she embarks on a journey in which she grapples with nature, tradition, history, true love, and the spiritual mysteries of her culture, and ultimately learns why she was given the name she bears, Who Fears Death. This book has won so many awards. Like, there's a whole list on the back of this. When I looked up the Wikipedia page, there were even more prizes on there, so everybody's loving this. I also thought that HBO opted this for a series with like similar people to that made Game of Thrones, but I'm not sure if that's still in the works. But yeah, I've heard nothing but amazing things about this. It's supposed to be very gripping and very wonderful and amazing. Heart-wrenching as well, I've heard that word too. Really excited. This smoothie is my breakfast, by the way, so don't judge me. The next book on the pile might come as a surprise to some of you, but that is The House of Earth and Blot, or Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. I think nobody saw this coming, or at least I did not see this coming. So I was talking about this already in one of my recent videos. I have never really been a big Sarah J. Maas fan. I have read the first book and the first half of the second book of the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I did really like the first book, but the second book was like the trauma was a bit too heavy in that, and so I couldn't get through it. But I intend to try one day. Basically, my amazing friend Kvirina recently read this book, loved it, and I was at the bookstore with her and a couple of my other friends, and she basically was talking about how much she loved it. And I also recently read a review of her where she was talking about how much it gripped her, and that she was crying on the toilet for half an hour after reading it, and that she loved it so much, even though she now barely remembers what it's about. But she was really raving about it when she read it. And so when we were at the bookstore together and I saw this copy, this is also a beautiful copy, I'll show you in a bit, I just had to buy it. So yeah, I bought it. I don't really know what this book is about, and I intend to just find out when I read it. So, okay, let me see if I can get this dust jacket off. How gorgeous is this book without the dust jacket? I love the little gold foil crescent moon, so beautiful. The inside is also really pretty, and yeah, this was 30 euros. This was so expensive, but it's really pretty, so yeah. I hope I will enjoy it as much as Kvirina did. Oh my god, it was literally 30 euros. I'm seeing the price on it again now, and I'm like, oh, I need to stop spending money on books. Okay, can't sing. Should never do that again, ever, ever, ever. Then next up, I've got a couple of graphic novels to get through that I bought. This was before I knew that all of Boombox was on Scribd, so I bought some of Boombox's graphic novels, but that's okay because I really love Boombox's graphic novels. This is Goldie Vance, and this is volume 1 by Hope Larson, Brittany Williams, and Sarah Stern. I'm so excited for this, and I have discovered that on Scribd are all of the other volumes of Goldie Vance, so I can't wait to get into it. This is basically about Goldie, who lives with her parents in a Florida resort. Both her parents work there. Her dad is the manager of the place, and her mother works as a mermaid, I think, in like the entertainment section of the hotel, something like that, but very cool. I love books about children who live in hotels. It's just a thing of mine. I really enjoy that. Same with boarding schools. So they have like a ground detective in the hotel, in the resort, and he's trying to solve a case, but he can't fix it on his own, and so he needs help, and that's where Goldie Vance comes in. And she basically wants to be the hotel detective when she grows up, and she's also black and queer, and I think there's possibly also a female romance in one of the volumes. I'm not sure, but I've seen pictures of like girls kissing. So yeah, I think this will be really great. And yeah, the illustration style is also really pretty, especially the concept art in the back of the graphic novel. There are some really gorgeous spreads in here. I love it. I love taking my time reading graphic novels and just like looking at all of the illustrations, getting inspiration for new color schemes, and just looking at the way the story is built and told and how the drawings portray so much emotion. That is really something that I want to grow with my own drawings, like characters portraying emotion and not just having a neutral face all the time. So yeah, I love taking inspiration and learning from graphic novels, and this one looks really cute. And then I bought 2 volumes of Giant Days. Giant Days is my favourite graphic novel series. I think you can say that, yeah. I love it. I love it so much. It's about these girls who, this is by the way volume 2 and 3, and I read volume 4, 5 and 6 on scribd yesterday. Sorry, this video is full of scribd. Don't mind me, I'm just sitting over here talking about scribd. Giant Days is about these 3 girls who go off to university, and there they become fast friends, and they are each very, very different. We have Daisy, who's I think biracial and queer. We have, well, she's figuring it out, but like in later volumes it becomes apparent that she's queer. And we have Esther, who's the most gothic person ever and who's so cute. And then we have what's she called, Susan, and Susan is really a bit more tough and like not showing emotions, but she's really sweet inside as well, and they form a wonderful friendship group. And this series is really about adulting for the first time and like figuring out what you want in life, what is important, priorities, going to university, you know, having your first one night stand, studying, exams, you know, all of that stuff. And yeah, about friendship and friendship groups as well, living in dorms. There's so many love themes as well, sexuality themes. There's a lot of humor in it. There's a lot of fun feminist humor in it. Like, for example, at one point they run into one of their ex-boyfriends kissing another girl, and then they huddle together and they're like, so should we go over there and break the and not pass the Bechdel test for like 50 times? And it's so fun. Definitely check these out. The next book on this pile is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. Don't know. Anyway, I read this, I think I've read this 3 times in my whole life. Like, the first time I read it I was really young, and then I read it when I was around 13-ish. I remember crying my eyes out, and then I reread it when I was 17 and I cried again. Now I haven't read it in 5 years, and I definitely know that when I will read it again I will cry again. This I got from the thrift store, by the way. This is a really nice Dutch copy of the book. I love this cover because before this I had the movie edition in Dutch, and that one is just so ugly. I don't want to own that. So I'm really glad that I found this one. This is basically a World War II story about a family who hides a Jew in their house, and it is told by Death. Death is like the storyteller. And yeah, I loved this book so much, and I can't wait to read it again. And apparently I was in a bit of a war mood because then I bought All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Joa, or in Dutch Als je het licht niet kunt zien. The Book Thief is, by the way, called The Boekendief in Dutch. World War II is a very apparent happening in the European history and in the history of all the world, of course, but I think especially for me, both of my grandparents were living at that time and have been through the German occupation, and so, you know, it's I always find it very interesting and it's strange in a way too to read about World War II and to recognise that my actual family lived through these things and through like actual bombings. And I live in Rotterdam, which is like one of the cities in the Netherlands that was hit the worst during the war, so there's like barely any old city centre left here, hence why it's also so like so many modern buildings in Rotterdam. And it's just, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know what this book is about, but I do know that it's about World War II, and I've heard that a lot of people have loved this. And what I also figured out is that the characters end up in Saint-Malo, which is in France, and I've been to Saint-Malo on holiday a couple of times, so I think that is really interesting as well, because Saint-Malo is on the cover as well, and yeah, I've been there, you know, I know what it looks like. So yeah, I'm really interested to read this one, and I hope it will be beautiful. The next book that I bought is a collection of poetry, essays, and stories by Alice Walker, and this is called Onder Woorden, which is Dutch for, yeah, how would you say that? It's basically wording things. I'm sure the English title is much better than that. Let me see if it's in here. The original title is Living by the Word, Selected Writings from 1973 until 1987. This is by Alice Walker, and Alice Walker is a feminist and researcher, I think. She's basically a journalist, and she's very famous for writing a book called The Colour Purple, which I think is like, it's a sort of queer coming of age, I think. Not sure, but I know about that book, and this just, I saw this at the thrift store. It says on the back that this is about controversy around filming The Colour Purple, her band, oh, she had a band, oh my god, this lady is so cool, and the gay community in San Francisco, the travel she made to China, what it cost her to be a vegetarian. And I mean, this was in the 70s. This lady was ahead of all of us. So yeah, I'm really interested to dive into this and see whether I like it. So this is the next book on my pile. This is Daughters of Nuri by Rennie K. Amayo. I don't know what this book is about, but the cover was so pretty and that I bought it. This is a theme, I'm so sorry. The only thing I know is I think there was a war and there are two girls who are the same and they're both goddesses. They both have different powers. It's basically twins that were separated at birth with magical powers that are sort of goddesses, and they need to reunite the world and all the awful things happening in there. They need to sort of reunite different sort of people. I think that's the main thing. That's what I read before I bought it, and that's what made me buy it. And yeah, it just looks really beautiful. And I was also really captivated by this one sentence on the back: can they defeat the man who brought the gods themselves to the knees? I just thought that was so captivating. I was like, okay, well now I have to get it. That is this one. Then I got Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Neon, and this is, oh, I'm so excited for this. I recently saw Meg with Books talk about this in more detail, and now I know that there's a big trigger warning for this book about rape. I didn't know that before, and it's basically about this king who chooses consorts every now and then, girls, to basically appease him, and they need to have sex with him. And so rape and trauma is a really big theme in this book. And this is basically about this one girl who gets chosen to be the king's consort, but then she falls in love with one of his other consorts, who's also a girl, and it's about their romance as well. And that just sounded so beautiful to me. And then when I heard that it's also very big on overcoming trauma, learning about yourself, oppression, and how to deal with all these things, I just thought, okay, sounds wonderful. And I really wanted some more fantasy books on my shelves because, like, I didn't have enough already or something, don't know. I got this book and I'm really excited to read it. It's been out for a very long time and I've been like ogling it ever since it came out, but I never bought it, so I'm glad I finally did buy it. Next up, I've got The Good Luck Girls by Charlotte Nicole Davis. I loved the gold foil cover on this one, and since I've recently come out with a gold foil bookmark on my Etsy store, I was just like, oh my god, I need to get this. It matches my bookmark. This is about 5 sisters, I think. They're called Aster, Violet, Tansy, Mallow, and Clementine. So one of the sisters, Clementine, accidentally kills a man, and from that point on, the sisters are looking for justice and for a way to have freedom and revenge at the same time in a place and a country and a sort of climate that wants them to have none of those things. From what I gathered, this story is really big on stories itself and how stories being passed between people, cultures, and families can really help people have hope and, you know, believe in things even when times are very difficult. And that is a theme that I'm really big on and I love, and yeah, that's what captivated me as well when I saw this in the bookstore. So that's why I end up picking this one up, and I'm really excited to read it. I also love that it's not a very big fantasy. It's a lot of times with young adult fantasy, it's not very big. And yeah, I know, I'm currently reading Priory of the Orange Tree, and that book is just so big. So, you know, I think every time now I see like a small fantasy book, I'm just like, oh, that's great. I love that. Even though I love long fantasy as well, but I don't know, just nice to have a short one in between as well. The next book that I got, I took the dust jacket off because I didn't like it. This is Witches of Ash and Rune by E. Latimer. This is basically about queer witches trying to solve a murder in Ireland. It basically has everything I love. I'm really, really excited to dive into this. It's about a serial killer, it's about witch hunters, witches. There's also enemies to lovers in there. Because, like, there's this girl from an enemy clan who falls in love with our protagonist, and it's just, oh, it sounds so good. I've tried to read this already, but I couldn't get into it, and I think that's mostly to do with the fact that I'm a big mood reader, and I want to save this for October and Spooky Month. I'm really big on Halloween, love everything about it, and love all the spooky things, so yeah. Can't wait to dive into this one when the time is ready, and I don't have a lot of other things to say about it, other than that Antari Reads has been pushing me since forever to read this book. So I'm really sorry, but I will read it, I promise. So yeah, really excited about this one. The next book that I got is the Southern Book Guides Club. No, wait, I'm mixing that up. The next book that I got is the Southern Book Club. No, this title is so hard, it's also very long. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I've read My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and I don't know, on one hand, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was amazing. It was so, in the beginning it was really funny and heartwarming, but then it got worse and worse until it descended into pure horror, and it was just horrid. It was horrible, but it was so good. It was also the most 80s thing that I've ever read, so if you love the 80s, I would highly recommend that book. On the one hand, Grady Hendrix did a great portrayal of how toxic female friendships can be, but on the other hand, I felt like there was a lot of internalized misogyny within the girls that wasn't really I don't know, it was sort of used as a plot device at points, and that sort of icked me a little bit. I don't know. This is the best I can articulate my problem with that book, but I still really enjoyed it. When I saw this book in the bookstore, I had some book gift cards for my friends. I had one from Brits and one from Quirina, and like, love you guys all so much. And then I bought this one off of that gift card. I love gift cards, like gift cards are my favourite thing. And the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires is inspired by, I think, a serial killer. Oh wait, I read the intro and then I was like, that sounds so cool, but now I forgot already. Right, so the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires takes place in the same neighbourhood as my best friend's exorcism, but just a couple years later. Can you imagine this neighbour's just being terrorised by all these horrible things happening? Basically, this book is about housewives in, I think, the 70s? No, the 80s. Great, I'm confused, don't know. Anyway, it's about housewives in South Carolina, and basically they have a book club. There's that this book is also about vampires, and that is sort of that typical archetype of the serial killer, like Ted Bundy and Woody Guthrie, stuff like that. And I'm such a big true crime fan, and he basically says in the intro that he's sort of pitting his mum against a serial killer vampire. Sort of evil, but it sounds really interesting. I'm the biggest true crime fan. I think true crime is so interesting. So when I saw that, I've been listening to a lot of My Favourite Murder lately. If you love true crime, you need to get on that. I've been listening to it, I think, since I was 17, which is way too young. But, you know, I love that, and I think I might love this too. So I'm really interested to see where this book goes and whether I will enjoy it. The next book that I bought is This Coven Won't Break by Isabel Sterling. I think you guys have heard me all absolutely raving about These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling as well, which was the first book in this series. I'm not sure if it's a trilogy or duology or whether it will be more books, but basically the first book was about gay witches, and they have been on a road trip the year before, and they've basically angered this blood witch, and then it appears that she has come back to terrorise the town where they live in, and these two girls were in a relationship, but now they've broken up, but they're still in the same coven, so there's a lot of tension there as well, and that's what the first book is about. And this book is basically the sequel. Can't tell you a lot about this, but basically the blood witch things just keep going on, and yeah, this is a spoiler, so if you haven't read the first book, mute me for a bit. But the protagonist of the book finds a new girlfriend in the first book, and I think this book will involve a lot more of that relationship as well, so I'm really interested in reading this. And yeah, I just love the first book and I can't wait to dive into this one. I also love the cover. It's been very like illustration mixed with photo, which is really cool. The first book had that as well, so yeah, I'm so excited to read this. And basically what I also really like about these books is that the witches in them have elemental magic. So Hannah, the main character, has sort of elemental magic, which is just really cool. I just said the same thing twice, I'm so sorry. I'm super excited for this book. Next book that I got is The Black Veins by Asha Monet. I'm so excited to read this. I also love this paperback. It's sort of like floppy, but in the best way possible, because it's got like a stern cover. I'm so excited. I love the cover as well, by the way. I was pointed to this book by Joel from Fictional Fates. I love Joel. Joel, if you see this, you know I love you. Can't wait to FaceTime again. We basically became friends because I saw a tweet of his and then I replied to it, and we sort of got into like a small argument, like we had a little beef. But then from there on we became vegetarians. Oh, I'm so funny. We became friends, so yeah, I love that. And I saw him talking about this book, and I think Asha and he are sort of friends, don't know, but I always see them interacting, and I love that. Yeah, then I started following Asha, and her aesthetic is just, I love her aesthetic. She's got this beautiful wig, it's like all pastely pink, and her Instagram page is just like so well put together. I could talk about it for hours, but I will not right now. Yeah, so she wrote this book about Blythe, who's 16 years old, and I think she's bisexual. Starting to doubt myself now, but I'm pretty sure. And she is one of the 7 guardians, and she has magic that is basically powerful enough to destroy the world in like one snap. But she doesn't, because she's really content, basically, just working in her parents' coffee shop, pouring beautiful coffees. But then one day her family gets kidnapped or something of the sort. Magician anarchists, it says here, crash into the shop and kidnap her family. And then Blythe basically goes on this magical road trip with all her amazing found family to rescue her own family. And yeah, I just road trip, queer, found family. There's no love interest in this book. amazing. I think this is really refreshing, and I think this could really be what YA needs at the moment. And I also love that Asha just self-published this, and that she did that, you know, and it looks so good. I've heard so many good things about it. I just at the moment I got this, I was just like, okay, I need to read it right now, but I have so much things I need to read. But this is really, really high on the TBR, so yeah, can't wait to dive into this. Okay, the next book that I got is This Is What It Feels Like by Rebecca Barrow. I am really excited about this book as well. This is about 3 girls who are entering a band contest, and they want to win money with this because they're all in a band together. But there's some tension, there's some things going on, and there is also a queer romance in this book, so I'm really excited about that. That's basically all I know. Another booktuber I really enjoy watching, Word Wonders, she was also talking about this book and how much she loved it, and like she commented on my Sefik Reads video as well, saying like, oh my god, this is what it feels like, it's so good, or something of the sort. And yeah, I'm just really excited to read this. I love bands, I love like band life books, I love YA that is about bands. And like girls in bands, they're also queer. Like I don't know what else you could possibly want, so really excited about this one. The next book on the pile is a very special one because it is non-fiction. What is happening? I don't know. This is Women Don't Owe You Pretty by Florence Given. I love Florence Given so much. She's the best. She's so cool. Florence Given is an activist, and also she's very active on Instagram with her activism. And yeah, she's so inspiring. She's like all about dump him, all about making your relationships better and being a happy single, stuff like that. I feel like I'm butchering this explanation, but basically this book, a lot of people have been saying that this is life-changing, and I really think it's such a cliche, but I really think this could possibly be life-changing for me as well, because I have been on and off really enjoying being single and really been struggling being single. What Florence Given is to me all about is really being whole on your own, and I'm really not there yet, but I would really like to be. Let me just read the blurb because I feel like I'm doing not a great job explaining this book to you. Women Don't Owe You Pretty is the ultimate book for anyone who wants to challenge the outdated narratives supplied to us by the patriarchy. It will teach you how to protect your energy. It's a good one for me because I suck at boundaries. Tell you that you are the love of your own life and that today is a wonderful day to dump them. Florence Given is here to remind you that you owe men nothing, least of all pretty. And yeah, I'm so excited about this. This book has been really hyped for making people uncomfortable, but also teaching them loads of truths and like uncomfortable truths and learning and growing with her. It's basically feminism, gender studies. That's sort of the category I will put this in. But Florence Given is very intersectional. She's just, I love everything about her. She's also queer, and yeah, this book is also, it is so pretty. I love Florence's aesthetic. It's like, it's got leopard print going on in there. Leopard print is Florence's favourite colour. Don't ask. So beautiful. It's got like, yesterday I started just sort of paging through this book, and I accidentally read like 70 pages because I was so captivated. So yeah, I think it won't be long until I've read this. It's got loads of beautiful illustrations. Florence does a lot of illustrations, and she's such a big inspiration to me. It's got loads of beautiful quotes and inspiring things. I already saw like some things that I saw in there, and I was just like, oh my god, this is gonna learn me so much. Maybe it's a girl crush, maybe you're queer. Mom, I am a rich man. Yeah, I just can't wait to dive into this and learn so many new things. So thank you, Florence, thank you so much. I am maybe planning on making a reading vlog about this, don't know yet, but yeah, I think that could possibly be very good. So I'm recommending this to anybody. This book is absolutely lush. The cover is so beautiful. I think it will be so important, and so like you will learn so much from this. This will change your life. Probably. It will change mine, for sure. Like yesterday, the 70 pages I read already changed me, so get ready for this. The next book I want to talk about is Hello, It's Mensa by Anusha Nazume. I've talked about this book many a times on my channel the past couple of weeks, so I won't spend too much time talking about this, but this is basically about racism in the Netherlands and about our history and certain things that are still happening today in the Netherlands, and yeah, what you can do to be an active anti-racist. I think this is a very important book to read, especially in the current climate. If you want to know more about this book, the insides, I urge you to check out my Sefik Reads video where I talked about this book at the beginning, somewhere here, and I also urge you to check out my Not my last reading vlog, but the one before that, where I also talk about this book in depth because I'm rereading it in that vlog. And yeah, this is definitely not a tell-it-all on racism. Like, you need to read more things by black authors and more things to get educated and, you know, be an active anti-racist. My voice is obviously never the most important one on this topic because I'm white. But Anusha Nazume is an amazing voice to listen to on this topic, so I highly recommend checking this book out, and yeah, that's why I also bought it. The next book that I got is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, and this cover is this book is so pretty, oh my god. Yeah, I'm one of those people that buys books because they're pretty, don't hate me, but look at this baby without the dust jacket. It's so gorgeous. It's got like an actual printed cover. They always do this with Dutch books. Like, a lot of Dutch hardcovers have like printed on covers and they don't do dust jackets. Like, there's not even a Dutch word for that. How crazy is that? We don't have a word for dust jacket. Stofjasje. No, that's a bad word. I just invented that. I just invented a new word. This book is entirely in verse, which is really cool. I have also read The Poetics by Elizabeth Acevedo, which was also entirely in verse, and Elizabeth Acevedo is literally... she's a word wizard. She is so good. Like, she's one of the best authors out there right now, in my opinion. I think she's so influential in YA for a good reason, because she writes important stories, but she also does so with such a flair. Like, she's got such a talent for expressing herself through verse, and she's just, oh, she's so good. I haven't read her book With the Fire on High, but I am planning on reading that one too, and I'm also planning on reading this one, obviously. This is about two sisters, and basically they both see their dad in shared time, so like they don't have their dad with them all the time, but they both don't know that they're sisters and that their dad has another kid, so like they live apart. And one day their father is traveling from one sister to the other on an airplane, and that airplane crashes and he dies. And from this point on, the sisters learn that they have an actual sister that lives somewhere else, and that their dad had this sort of double life. This story is really about grief, about self-discovery, identity, family, and yeah, it's all in verse, and I think this will be so heart-wrenching, so can't wait to get into it and to shed some good tears. And now we've gotten already to the last book that I bought, and this is A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. I was talking about this one in my mid-year book freakout tag as well, and I am just really excited to read this book. This is basically about black mermaids destroying the patriarchy. I think this is all that the YA landscape needs right now, possibly. Like, all the other people that are writing and publishing books, stop it, because Bethany C. Morrow has done it. I'm obviously kidding, there's so many good books coming out, but yeah, I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited about a lot of things, I'm sorry. It says on the cover, an enthralling tale of black girl magic and searing social commentary, ready to wrestle the bones. But okay, mermaids. Like, when I heard mermaids, I was just like, mermaid books! I want a mermaid book. I'm so ready for mermaid books. I think Tavia's the main character, and she has special siren powers, and her society really wants her to hide those powers and not use them. And then we are also following Effie, who is fighting her own problems within her family, who's fighting her own demons. It says in the book that everything is changing when a murder trial rattles the nation, and Tavia accidentally lets out her powers at the possible worst moment. And yeah, I didn't even know that there was a murder in this book, so now I'm even more excited. That sounded really morbid, but I didn't mean it that way. Also, the cover is gorgeous. Illustrated covers come to me. Love it. Super excited about this book. Okay, those were all the books. This was a journey. I've bought so many books. Ridiculous. This was quite the journey. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and ring the bell to be sure that you never miss one of my videos. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books and which books you are really excited for and you are buying or wanting to buy. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!